I'm Mike Gibson, Steve Bailey, coming to you live from SCAI 2015. Talk to us about CCI.
So catheterization cardiovascular intervention continues to thrive. We're excited to still be the journal that the interventionalist reads about how to take care of patients. And we have a bit of a different format. We continue to represent not just coronary work, but peripheral vascular work, pediatrics. We have been the voice of the pediatricians, our pediatric interventional colleagues, and now with the growth in structural, we have just seen a huge explosion of the kind of content and the diversity that's out there that represents the work that we do.
So are you expanding the number of volumes or the size of the volumes, or how are you going to accommodate all that new information?
It's a great question about how you take all of the new information and the growth in those areas. We're looking at a couple of opportunities. We are utilizing an increase in the pages. We've been able to negotiate that, so we'll have more opportunity there. Because many of the reports probably are better suited with the media content than the demonstrations for being online rather than in print for what we do. And it's hard to demonstrate some of the things in a single page as opposed to seeing it. So we're increasingly utilizing online formats for the video and demonstrations, and that gives us some bandwidth there. And we are looking at, with the increase in all of these fields, opportunities perhaps for additional journal titles or ways that we can recognize the work that's going on.
So you'd have the CCI parent journal, but maybe some daughter journals of structural
we certainly have
peripheral work.
Yeah, well, we certainly have seen that work in other journal modalities, and I think it serves as an opportunity for us to evaluate what that looks like.
How much are people looking at the print versus the online versus, say, on an iPad? Do you know? Are you able to track that?
We are, and I think it's a very important part of what we track, how people are using it and where they're doing it. About 27% roughly, round up to 30. About a third of the utilization is primarily online.
Really?
We have
I would have
lot
thought
of,
it was higher, given the media and stuff.
Well, and I think some of that is just we're in the transformative era. That Wiley has just made us available online on a regular basis about a year ago. So we're excited that we're seeing that much utilization. A lot of times, how people are using it varies, and so when we look at online utilization, it's in two formats. One is for content and content downloading, whether that's graphs, tables, or the availability of the videos. And some of that is linkage, the ability to sync on a topic and then be linked either within Wiley or outside of Wiley through the other media formats.
Well, they're doing a lot of creative things at Wiley and Elsevier, putting things at the bottom of the page, kind of like in Amazon. If you liked this article, you're going to love this article. So there's a lot of big data being used now to promote that linking across publications.
There is, and I think that it really is a positive, because for many of us interested in a particular topic, it moves our assessments sort of into a more immediate phase, because we don't have to then go search. We're using that technology, that data, to help aggregate information that may have important content. Not too dissimilar from what happens, I guess, before on commercial sites.
And in terms of the challenges, always tough to find reviewers, isn't it?
It is. It takes time. It takes effort. With now more than 125 cardiology titles, with more than 22 interventional titles. The times that you're asked to review and the timeliness are important. We've looked at our process. I've actually gone back and extended our timeline for reviews by a week, because what we're finding is that people need a little more time to give us that kind of quality reviews. I think that one of the things that we may not do as good a job educating about is how to do a good review.
How to do a good review,
We saw that.
So what do you look for in a good review?
Well, I think that it starts out with the basic questions, but we don't always begin at that. The basic questions are, will this article, will this manuscript teach me something? And how will I take what it teaches me, and in our case, apply it to clinical care? Because that transition, that translation is critically important. And then beneath that is the simple pieces that aren't so simple today in the complex world. Is the reporting that's done, is there a large enough sample? And it doesn't have to be tens of thousands, but it
Right.
probably can't be 10.
Right.
It's a large enough sample to answer the questions that's posed at the level that it's
Sure.
being stated.
Sure.
Is it clear and concise?
Right.
You know, we all are aware that we can sometimes put more words in than need to be written. And the art
Yeah.
of learning to say something concisely
Exactly.
is incredibly,
It's
incredibly difficult.
It's tough, yeah.
So conserving the words
Yes.
is important. And then lastly, how can we, because we are so visual.
Right, we are
particularly in
visual
English,
animals as
you know,
interventional cardiologists.
Can we take that information and put it in ways that can be better understood?
Right.
So if it's a concise article that makes a point, tells you what it is that was being investigated, does it in a way that satisfies that
Right.
and provides real verifiable data.
Right.
Those are the points that need to be looked at, but surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, the ability to look at an article and synthesize it ourselves and say that
Right.
isn't always so easy.
Right. Every day I open up my email, I get 3 or 4 invitations to be an editor at the open source journal of XYZ PDQ. And there's there's just this massive proliferation of these open source journals now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's must be hard, you know, to compete with that. And, you know, I mean, I think they're kind of pay for play in some ways, right? I mean, I worry about the quality of what's going on there.
Well, I think that this explosion of the technology that allows you to do it worldwide, it could be based
Right.
anywhere, and the lack of transparency
Right.
and authenticity, certification, quality, as you
right,
point out, I think
right.
it's very concerning because you don't know,
Right.
you know, with what people advertise, with what that looks like. I think that there, as in any environment, an opportunity for people to provide a product in which there is no quality and no standard, and
Right.
it is simply
A building model.
a way of transferring costs.
Right, exactly.
I think that people are genuinely looking at that as a mechanism that can allow that to occur, either collaboratively with print text.
Right.
But I think
But
there's
you
going to
make sure
have
the
to
quality.
be
That's the key issue.
right. And you know I think what authors value is the impact of that, and does it provide a tool that we can use to gauge the information that's provided. I think what we haven't talked about is those open source journals then become available for the lay individuals, our patients and others. And I worry about how that kind of information
Right.
that isn't as well thought out,
Right.
isn't as carefully reviewed, can be misconstrued.
I agree. Great. Well, congratulations. Done a
Thank
great
you.
job as editor-in-chief.
Well,
Keep
thank
up
you.
the great work, and I love the journal. Look at it. Thanks so much, Steve, for joining us today, and thanks to all of you out there for joining us live from SCAI 2015.